All right, Hector, get set up. Some professional idiot.
Such a bum.
Such a baby.
Get a job.
Gosh.
All
All right, thank you, Hector.
Hey, everybody.
You didn't see any of that. Welcome back to No One Listens to Pat Meredith. I'm Owen.
I'm Matt.
And what are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to do some ethical questions.
Okay.
As believers, as Christians, we have to answer hard questions sometimes. And so, for just a little disclaimer before this, we're going to go a little deeper than normal. This is one of those theological talks that we're going to dive into some gritty things sometimes. And as believers, we have to answer these questions. We have conversations with people. So if you're a parent or if you want to get your parents' permission, which we're not going to talk anything bad, but all the questions will be in the description below. So you can timestamp those and see where you want to go and if there's anything that you're not ready for. But let me, we're just going to start here because I want to make sure that all of our answers, one, are being sensitive. He didn't practice these questions. I'm going to be asking Owen. These are not practiced. These are right off the top of my head and things that I've heard as a pastor, things that I've discussed in different group settings and different things like that. But we want to make sure, one, we're prayed up. Two, we're being sensitive to those who maybe have gone through these situations. Also, giving biblical advice as best we can. And if we don't know the answer, we're going to be the first to say, I don't know. So we're okay with that. So you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First question. Is it ever okay to lie? This is one of those that immediately our mind wants to say no. But if we really start spitballing about this, is it ever okay to tell a lie?
You know, in the example that we would say that, it's usually to protect someone.
Okay.
Or to keep someone from harm. But if we're lying, are we really protecting that person? You know? Are we... and there's only so much lying you can do before eventually you've made this hold that now it's just not reality anymore. I mean, the Bible is pretty specific on don't lie. And I can't think of it, I guess I would think of it as we're called to be like Christ. There's never an instance in the Bible where Christ lied.
True.
So I would just say, if all possible, don't lie. At all.
Why do you say, if at all possible, if you're saying...
I think there's a difference between, in a more lighthearted situation. Say, for example, I was going to surprise you on your birthday.
Okay.
And, I told you, oh, there's going to be, nobody here. It's going to be, nothing.
Yep.
And then it's a surprise birthday party.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that's a lie.
Okay.
Obviously I'm not being truthful, which is lying. But also, I don't know. This is where it gets complicated. But I wouldn't say there's anything unbiblical with that, ungodly with that.
Okay.
And I think that's really the discernment of, saying, am I being Christ-like through what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, can I give you a for instance?
Yeah, give me
this is one of those that when I was in school, this was the question that always comes up. And this question has been asked a million times. All right. You know where I'm going.
Probably, yeah.
All right. So, and play along with us. This is really difficult. Okay. So 1940s Germany.
Okay.
All right. The Nationalist Socialist Party has taken over Germany, also known as the Nazi regime. You have hidden Jewish people in your home. Nazi police come by, ask you, do you have any Jewish people in your home?
If you say no, I still think it's the heart behind it.
Okay.
I think you're being protective.
So lying is okay in that situation.
you know, if it's not, then I would just repent about it afterward. But I think you'd be doing more of a disservice by just offering them up.
Okay. Can I throw
Go ahead,
a curveball in there?
Yeah, sure.
By lying and saying, no, we don't, even though you do, are you taking any of the trust away that God can actually do something in that situation that maybe you didn't know about?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, either way, God's going to use it somehow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What would you say?
I used to be a really staunch, no, I'm not going to lie. I will tell the truth with the hope of my obedience allowing for something amazing to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard of missionary stories with people smuggling Bibles, and as they're looking in, backs of cars and whatnot, they see Bibles, but they let them pass anyways. Or, something miraculous happening in that situation that we don't ever give God the opportunity to do because we think taking matters into our own hands. But then I also have come to this understanding that by me saying, yes, I have these people in my home, I am allowing an unjust death to occur. Most likely. Yeah. Like, we're 99.999. It's not 100%. Yes, yeah.
Right.
But I believe that in that situation, that not speaking the truth is a valid option because someone's unjust death is on the line.
But there really isn't. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. There's not really any scripture that would back what we're saying.
No, this is the ethical,
do not lie, but in this situation,
yeah, this is the ethical dilemma that it comes down to. The ethical dilemma is: do we have a clear-cut answer? You can be 100% this. All right, I will not lie, no matter what. But then you also have other ethical dilemmas as it comes to government of what if the government tells you can't talk about Jesus? So then do you do that? Now you're going against the government, which Romans 13 says the government has been set up and God has put those people in there for a reason. So now are we going against? So I think, yes, we follow all of the parameters of law until the law and grace characteristic of God supersedes those moments.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I would lie.
I think it's a lot of heart and discernment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think if you say, yes, they're here, God can work. I think if you say, no, we don't have any, God can work. I think it comes down to a conviction and the motivation of the heart. So
that's tough.
It's a tough question.
I have no idea.
It's a fun. This is why I love doing this. My wife does not like doing this.
Yeah.
But if you're a kid, don't ever lie to your parents.
Yeah.
All right. Number question two. Is it ever okay to modify your body surgically or with enhancement, or to make yourself look better, feel better, things like that? Or the body that God gave you is the body God gave you?
Does that include tattoos, like what you're saying?
It didn't, but if you want to throw that in, that doesn't bother me.
No. So, like, what are you, like, give an example?
So, plastic surgery.
Okay.
So, someone who doesn't like their nose, right? They have self-esteem issues. They don't like it. They think they could use something better. So, they end up surgically modifying their nose to fit the desire that they have. Is that okay?
Personally, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with that.
Okay.
Because I also think of, like, the people that get these plastic surgeries and stuff to actually help.
Okay.
Like when people get lifts so that they can, like, I think my grandma got one so that she could see better or something. I don't know. There's something going on that I'm not quite sure about, but as much as I'd love to say, like, you should love your body for, like, what you have, like, you know, if you've gotten to a point where, like, you just hate looking at yourself in the mirror, I mean, well, you shouldn't, because God created you that way, you know? But I don't think it's a sin to I don't I don't think it would be a sin.
Okay.
I don't think there would be anything wrong with it. I'm not planning on it unless I really need it,
okay.
But I don't think there'll ever be an instance where I need it.
Okay.
I don't know what do you.
Well, I kind of again. Let me throw some.
Okay. Yeah.
Caveats in here.
Okay.
What if it is we talk about the motivation of the heart.
Yeah.
If it's just vanity, I want to look better.
I think there are more important things in life than how you look. I mean, but there are a lot of things that we do aside from plastic surgery that makes us look better or feel better. You know, if people get a bunch of earrings because that just makes them feel more confident or whatever. Okay. People grow their hair out or cut it short or grow their beard out or keep their face. You know, there are a lot of things that we can do that'll make us look better, maybe to ourselves, or that we think will look better to other people.
Okay.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter as much as it does. Period. But I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with getting piercings. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with doing that. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with getting tattoos. So
okay.
I feel like plastic surgery would kind of go along with how I feel about those things.
Do you stop with just external surgeries? What about internal surgeries?
Like an example?
Well, weight loss surgeries, like stomach surgeries, or where you're closing off part of your stomach, so you rapidly lose weight.
Oh.
Or let's go even a little deeper. What about genetic modifications? When it comes to, they're working a lot of things with like this trend of designer babies where you can start picking out hair color and picking out eye color, and you can remove, they're wanting to get to a point, I don't know if they are there yet with the technology, but if they can have the technology to remove a disease in the DNA level, or to take away a special needs or things like that. Is there a line in there where we've gone from modification to now playing God, and what is that line?
Yeah. Okay, so God has created us in His image, and because of that, and He made us who we are. We should, if we don't like that, then we are saying, God, you have messed up. And God hasn't messed up in any way. I don't think we should be able to alter anything that something can't control. Like you said, like changing the hair color or trying to keep a disability out. I don't think you should have any play in that. But that also shouldn't matter. Like, if your child has a disability or not, you should still, like, they're still your child. You should still love them regardless.
If you could give them a quote unquote better life,
I think they'll have I don't think having a disability or not having a disability will bring forth a better life.
Okay.
And that's just from working with your neurotypical and also special needs. I think they both thrive.
Okay.
And there's a purpose and place and love for both. So I don't think there's any I don't think it's a necessity to alter anything with that.
Okay. So where's the line of altering and not altering?
Right.
This is the ethical dilemma.
Yeah.
The answer is
I don't know. I don't know what the line is.
I mean, this is tip of the iceberg conversations, because you get into a lot of these conversations, especially now with designer children, and what's coming up with this is there something wrong with a child because it's born a certain way? Or are we trying to modify something that God designed it to be? Or are all disformations or diseases, all of these are from the fall? So would they have been here if the world was perfect? And shouldn't we desire an ideal world? And if you start talking about an ideal world, then that kind of sounds very languagey of some people and some things that happen that we don't really like at all. So it's really interesting when you start looking at this, and I don't want to dive too deep into it, but there's Christians on all sides of this discussion. So to say here's the answer, it's really difficult. It's really difficult when it comes to this.
I mean, because there are Christians that would say no piercings, no tattoos, no altercations.
You are the temple of God,
right?
And as you are,
well
then you start asking, okay, should I be able to lose weight? You're modifying your body, or did God make you overweight? So there's all of these, there's all of these issues. There's just a lot. There's just a lot.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll keep going. All right, here's an interesting question, because you work in the middle school system.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
If we see or experience something that's wrong, do we have to let authorities know, even if we aren't asked about it? So, example, a child who is bullied or sees someone who is bullied. Is it their Christian duty to report that? Or knowing that if they report that, there's going to be trouble for them as well?
So I actually have an example of something recent that happened kind of like that.
Okay.
And this might be one of the hardest moments I've faced probably as a teacher.
Okay.
Because legally, we have to report bullying. We have to report seeing drawn out weapons. We have to report signs of certain things. If we don't report them and something else happens and there's some sort of way it could come back to me of I knew and I just didn't say anything, then I could get in a lot of trouble. So that's really tricky. I mean, when it comes to weapons or anything like that, I'm going to report that.
100%.
But here's the kicker. I had a student come up to me in confidence by myself that said they were they had a bullying problem. Some people were bullying this person and asked me not to tell anybody, any staff, because they didn't want it to be a big deal. So I said, okay. I said I wouldn't tell anybody, but also legally I have to. Because if it gets worse and I haven't said anything, well, then I'm in trouble. So what I did was I went to the guidance counselor and I said, hey, there's a student that came to me. I didn't say who it was. I said, there's a student that came to me about bullying, and this person asked me not to tell anybody, but I feel like I should just in case. And I told this guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor said, we can write this down, and in 48 hours, we can, if nothing else is said, if it's all resolved and stuff, then we can just disregard it. Not disregard it, but then, if it's all resolved, then it's not an issue. But if it maintains a certain thing by tomorrow, then have the student come up to me and we'll figure it out. And so, and the guidance counselor said it would stay between us. So now there was no, it didn't get out anywhere. And then the next day, it was all resolved. So in that instance, the student trusted that I wouldn't tell anybody. I told the guidance counselor, but the guidance counselor didn't tell anybody. So it's kind of Oh, and like nothing ever got out. The bullying never got any worse. And I felt okay with that situation. Because say if the bullying had continued the next day, then at least I know I'm okay because I said something about it. And that student will be okay because there's already awareness of it.
Yeah.
You know? But it's a tough situation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard as I think of this because I love true crime, right? And I love reading about kind of the old mafia families of New York City, right? And so many people through those real court cases refused to testify even though they were witness to things because of the fear. And I always wondered the ethical dilemma, like, do they have a responsibility to stand up against this evil operation because other people are being hurt? Or is it okay for them to keep their mouth shut out of self-preservation? So it's just a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
It also depends like on the type of bullying as well. Like if it was like getting pretty gritty, I think you'd want to step in.
Sure.
And I think even if the student doesn't necessarily like that, I think they would be okay with it in the long run. Yeah. I do think that there are some instances where there shouldn't be any fear of like that. But that's an extreme example of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That one's...
Yeah. All right. Last question.
Yeah.
Last question. Can a believer, a Christian, follower of Christ, ever justifiably take the life of another human being?
So I would say no.
Okay.
Say it one more time. Can a
believer, a Christian, ever justifiably, right, biblically justifiably, take the life of another human being?
So there's a couple scenarios we got here.
Okay.
Because I think the one where people would be in question would be if somebody was like medically dying and asked to be euthanized.
Yeah.
And then they pull the plug, so to say.
Okay.
Because that's a person going through pain. But I also don't, for that instance, for that scenario, I don't know.
Okay.
I would want to say like, yeah, put them out of pain, but also I feel like that's not your place.
Yeah.
But if they've asked for it, but see, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Let me throw this one at you. Brothers and sisters in like faith in the military.
Like,
fighting in war.
Oh, I see. Well, I mean, you know, there's many instances in the Bible where God's sending an army and and armies. I mean, I guess it goes down to the answer to some of the previous questions of like discipline and your heart. I don't know.
Okay.
But, well, do you have something about that?
I do. No, I have one more. Self-defense.
Self-defense, I would say, is okay.
Okay.
I think that's... And I would even go even farther to say defending somebody else.
Okay.
Like we've talked about, like if something were to happen to your wife, you know, you would step in for that.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's...
I would say that's justifiable.
Sure.
I think there are some instances, like when it comes to, like the medical one, I don't know. I don't know if that's justifiable or not. War and self-defense, I would say, can be iffy, but mostly I think are justifiable.
Yeah.
And then assisted in helping someone in their own life, I would say is not justifiable at all.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's kind of my range. And I guess my scriptural reference for that one would be somewhere in Genesis 9, I believe, but I don't have anything on me, so I don't know what it is, but I'll put it here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. It's funny because I know if someone's watching all the way to the very end, it's like, you haven't really answered anything, or where's this? You know, the to do a whole ethical discussion on one of these questions could take hours. You know, people have written books. There have been seminars and, you know, semester-long classes on these questions. So we're not here to answer all the in-depth little nuances to all of these things. But these things are, as believers, there are believers and unbelievers who want answers to these questions. And to be prepared, I think, is the best place to be. To not think about them and just hope that no one ever asks us. I don't like being in that position. When it comes to death, when it comes to military, when it comes to self-defense, when it comes to, you know, designer children, when it comes to all of these, especially medical questions, man, they're everywhere. Like, we ought to have an answer besides, I don't know. You know, and it's okay to say I don't know. If you don't know, say you don't know. But I think it ought to be something that we think about. Yeah, I think it's important, and I think we may not have the answer, but I think it's good for us to have an answer with some biblical precedent behind it.
I think there should be a conclusion to our I don't know, like say like how we got to that answer in the first place. Because you know, if you're just saying I don't know, then it's like you haven't thought about it.
Yeah,
but I can, like, I think it'd be good to give like, well, here's this side, here's this side, here's how I've come to this.
I agree. So hopefully this is something that, you know, you may be interested, may not be interested, but it's something that interests me. I love having these discussions. Yeah. If you have any ethical dilemma questions, man, we'd love to hear them, and we'll do our best to answer those. But man, you know, thanks for sticking around. If you stuck around, if this isn't your cup of tea, that's okay. Yeah. And I was actually watching a YouTube video the other day by a guy who has nothing to do with our content, but he says, you know, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down and let us know why. So we can better ourselves. We want to better the show.
You know, and speaking of ethics, so well, this isn't related to that, but on the Hodgkin's lymphoma awareness reel that we put out, or the short that we put out, that video has 10 dislikes. You know that? Huh. How are people disliking cancer awareness? I don't know. I would love to know why.
Maybe they were thinking we're just manipulating the situation. Oh, well. Which, if they knew our hearts in the situation, like, they would clearly understand. But that's okay. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. You know, it's our family. Yeah. Like, we know who they are, and they know us. Yeah. So, it's fine. But if you don't like it, like, let us know. We want to make the show what people want it to be. Yeah. You know, within the confines of our convictions. So.
Right. It's all about discipline in the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you got any more ethical dilemmas, let us know. If you want to see more of this content, let us know. If you're like, this was stupid.
Okay. Let us know that too.
Let us know. It'll be okay.
We have a Q&A form that will be in the description of this video that we've had in the community page, descriptions for a while. Fill it out. I've got some good things back from that. So fill that out. And anything else? Any other...
I don't think so.
Thingamajiggies?
No.
All right.
No. Well, I kind of want to, like I said, if you got some good questions, all about these.
Yeah. We'll answer them. We answer most of our comments. We don't get that many. So
I just went through and answered like 30 comments the other day. So I just tore through some.
So on that note, Hector, do you have anything you want to
say? Never does.
Stupid baby.
Gosh.
All right. We love you and peace out.